Over the next 2 weeks, I am going to be embarking upon an epic journey, following the training routine of, I believe, pound for pound, the most athletic golfer on tour, Rory McIlroy. Now, we're both Whoop ambassadors, and I'm going to be using this technology to guide me through the process. So the goals over the next 2 weeks. First of all, I want a top 5 finish at Fairhaven. That is my first event. Second of all, I want a top 5 finish at Royal Lytham, the open venue and terror of many professional golfer. That is my second event. Third of all, kind of a weird one. So I've been working on my swing speed for quite some time, but I want to try and solidify 120 miles an hour of club head speed with the driver and actually hit the ball more consistently at that speed. Because that is one thing that Rory emphasizes again and again about his training. He is training not just to hit the ball further, but to really make his swing more stable at high speeds. And lastly, this is something which I am kind of desperate to do, and this is something I've struggled with so much, is 10 out of the 14 days, I want to try and get recovery in the green using Whoop. Recovery is a measure, it's a score of how well I sleep, how well I'm ready to take on the day. And that's not always a strength around competitions.
But what does it exactly take to become one of the very best golfers in the world? As with everything else, I took to the internet to find out.
So I'm starting to get a better understanding of what Rory McIlroy does. But I wanted to address all areas of his lifestyle. So what he eats, how he prepares for golf, his warm-up routines, but even more so, what he also goes through in the gym.
So I found these videos that give a pretty good insight into the type of work that Rory goes through. I really wanted to gain some exercises and mobility drills from his repertoire to implement them into my own gym sessions. How hard can it be to do for a few weeks, right? I knew I needed to call in a few favors.
And by the way, guys, we are almost at 500,000 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed so far, please hit that button now. Hey, Andy, I need a favour from you, mate. I basically want to become Rory McIlroy and need you to help me. I need a PT. Take me through his workout, 2 whole weeks. Can you help?
I'm sure we could come up with something, mate.
That sounds reassuring. Thank you.
No problem, bud.
Well then, this is going to go well.
Walk in strong, walk out stronger. Nice.
With Pete's training, we're focused, his aims are very much around long drives, long shots. All his work has been around getting that long game further. So we're focused on his strength training, his power work, and as a result we've concentrated on deadlifts, squats, bench press, all the big compound lifts just to get that power, get that strength. And then with the power stuff, we've incorporated a lot of slams, a lot of throwing movements, just to help him generate that power. We've had a look through Rory's workouts. A lot of it is very similar to what Pete does anyway. So we've altered slightly just to incorporate it, to suit it to Pete's own level. And other than that, it's pretty much what we've been working on anyway.
For breakfast, I have actually been really healthy, so fresh fruits, fat-free yogurt. Lunch hasn't been great. Generally, I have prepared salads in advance, but I've also been snaffling sandwiches. But not loads, I've been relatively good. And then for tea or dinner, so this is a whole wheat spaghetti. It's got veg and anchovies in. But most of that's been salad, as in either fish or a white meat. I've stayed pretty much away from red meats. I've also stayed away from the drinks trolley quite a bit. It's disappointing. Right, let's go through Rory's pre-round routine and hit some balls before the first comp, shall we? Yeah, that's going to be a problem. So I found a video on the TrackMan website where it took us through Rory's pre-round routine, which takes the best part
of an hour. So he hit some chips, he hit some pitches before then moving on to bunker shots. Now I pretty quickly discovered that this is difficult to do at the PGA events that I play in. The facilities aren't quite the same as the PGA Tour. After the bunker play, it was on to striping some wedges and irons down the range. It was then on to bashing the driver. After the driver was successfully biffed, it was then on to the putting green as well. I'll put in the video here the amount of shots that he hit with each club during the warm-up session. I don't think he will do this every time, I'm sure it mixes up slightly, but as a guide to the number of shots someone like Rory hits before he goes out to play in a tournament, it's pretty good.
So the best laid plans of mice and men, all that, were thrown into chaos as the range wasn't open. So there have been some really bad storms in the UK, and half the range at Fairhaven had literally been ripped out of the ground. So that meant I had to go through my personal warm-up routine, which doesn't involve hitting any shots. A lot of the courses that I play in the North region, they don't have the facilities to warm up fully beforehand, i.e. hitting drives and all the rest of it. But I managed to get myself prepped fairly well, and score-wise, I shot 2 under par. Now, it's early days, but that is literally the best score in the first comp of the season that I've ever had. So I finished tied 3rd, and Fairhaven is an open qualifying venue. It's my first choice actually for the open qualifying this year. So promising signs, and I know that every golfer in the history of golf can say this, but I left so many shots out there. I really did. There's 2 par 5s that I didn't birdie, which were easily reachable, and I didn't make that many good par saves. Like, all around, my golf was pretty decent, especially for that first comp of the year. So we'll get my Whoop data up. The night before the event, I only got 61% recovery. First comp of the year, a little bit nervous, kept waking up. I followed the Rory routine in the morning, so got up nice and early, managed to get on the bike pretty much first thing, did some stretching, headed for the course, which is an hour away. As mentioned, didn't get on the range, but got on the chipping green, got on the putting green, and did more stretches there.
The first week was over, and I've been eating, working out, and practicing my little heart away to make Rory proud. My recoveries were going well, and the build up to Royal Lytham was still in full flow, but I was still working on getting more stable in my drives. And for this to be a success, it needed more work.
So one of the big goals from this Rory training is to try and swing at 120 miles an hour whilst maintaining stability. Now, what I mean by that is I've been able to swing pretty quick for quite some time, but maintaining a decent golf swing at that speed, that's something completely different. And that is something that Rory has actually talked about with his gym training. It's not about him being able to hit the ball further and further. It's about being able to control his body during the swing. Because when he was a young amateur, when he stormed onto the scene, he could still hit it miles, but it's about using the body correctly and it not breaking down. And if you follow my channel for any number of years, you will know that my body breaking down is a common occurrence. I'm looking for swing speeds between about 119 miles an hour to 122, carry distance at about 300 yards, and rolling out to about 320. If I get that bang on, that's all I'm going to need in the comps I play. You'll know if I've been able to keep my stable swing, because I'll hold my finish. So I'm looking to move that left knee out and around whilst keeping those hips back and not letting them thrust forward. That's when I really start to get me issues. I've not quite got there yet, but it should be controllable. Right. Right, 122. Carry 300. 298. I've let everybody down. Right, so super consistent as far as swing speed goes. We'll get into the data a little bit. I'm not happy with a few of those. Shall we have one? I reckon I could get it out to 128 without losing control. Oh no! Ah! Oh, it's 128 as well. Actually bang on the money. 182, but oh, that was so close.
So stability training in the bag, and my 3 aims for the fortnight was still on track.
Okay, we are off to Royal Lytham, and what a beautiful day it is. I mean, the last 2 weeks have been really insightful. One of the goals was to finish in the top 5 at Royal Lytham, so that is the goal. There's some really good players playing as well. I'm not nervous, actually. Normally when comps come around, I'm pretty twitchy, but I managed to get a good night's sleep last night. Feeling confident, done my spin this morning. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. That's when you've got to be careful though, isn't it? Like when you're feeling good, when you're feeling positive. That's when the golf gods are going to turn around and give you a slap. Not today though, golf gods. Not today. We are back from Royal Lytham, and I have to say, it was disappointing. So I shot 3 over, and I prepared for this event quite well to begin with. So I got a practice round, and the key around Royal Lytham for me was identifying the dangers and where I could miss. It is a tough course, it is an open venue, and it was a long day. So you see from the stats here, the most disappointing facet of the game was my approach play. And I had this tendency to pull my irons left. When I start pulling my irons left, I know I'm hanging back on my right side, I'm coming from the inside a bit, and I'm flipping it over to the left of the green. And I really struggled to control that. And it was just so frustrating. And then when I was hitting the green, I was leaving myself like 20 feet away. And if I'm having a good day, I might hole a couple of those. But generally, I'm just gonna be tapping it for par. So the entire day, I only had 1 birdie on 16. Cue the wild celebrations of all my playing partners. It was a real attritional grind. 2 under, won the event overall. I think I finished 6th in the end. And that shows you how tough the course was. But to be honest, I do feel like I let myself down a little bit, because with the Whoop data, I can really see my strengths, my weaknesses, and I know how to prepare for an event now. So we had people up to stay the weekend before the event, and I know that if I have a drink, my recovery score is absolutely trashed. But on the Saturday, we went to a gig. It had been cancelled for 2 years because of the pandemic. I wasn't going to say no, but I also didn't say no to a few drinks. So when it got around to Sunday, I was shattered, and I couldn't do any practice. I tried to do a bit of work, but in the end, I wasn't as prepared for that Monday as I wanted to be. I've got the tools now with Whoop, I just need to have that extra bit of discipline. And this is where the training and what we've done over the last few weeks, it really comes into sharp focus. Can I now continue that over the long run, over the course of the season? I feel better, I've started to lose some of the timber. Swing-wise, I'm actually feeling pretty decent, apart from that annoying pull, and that's just down to practice. So can I continue it? I have to say, one of the biggest things, or one of the biggest game changers about the new Whoop band, so I've got the 4.0, is the haptic alarm. So what you can do is set your alarm to go off when you've reached your recovery score, or when you've had a certain amount of sleep. So I've been getting up pretty much between 6 and 6:30. But if I get to bed at say 10 and I'm recovered enough by 5 in the morning, the Whoop band will start vibrating me and telling me to get up. And I know I can then get up and be fully recovered to attack that day. Like, that's really cool, actually. Of course, it does involve me getting up at 5 in the morning. You'd be good with that, wouldn't you, Jacob? You'd love that, mate. You'd love it. So overall, these 2 weeks, fantastic learning experience. Really happy with my Fairhaven comp. Bit disappointed with Royal Lytham, but that's golf. You know, you're not going to play great all the time. It's now keeping it going throughout the year. If you do want more information on Whoop, there is a link in the description below. And Whoop have offered a month free at the end of every membership year. Right, I suppose I should go have a healthy lunch. Or a burger, should have a burger. Should we break the fast? Can't, can I really?